Hey guys, we're going to talk about simplifying expressions again, and with this, we're going to talk about combining like terms. And again, some terminology that we need to know. This right here is a term, 2x. The coefficient is the number. Coefficient is the number. The variable is the letter. Whenever a number and a letter are touching, so the coefficient and the variable are right next to each other, that indicates multiplication is occurring. A number by itself with no variable is known as a constant. And whenever we look at these, it's important to be able to isolate all the coefficients with their corresponding variable, because I can have different variables in a problem, and all the constants. Remember to include the sign in front of your term. It goes with the term whenever you have to move it. This does not simplify to 5x, which a lot of people think that it does. The reason is because of your order of operations. I just told you that going on between the 2 and the x is multiplication. I cannot add before I multiply. I have to multiply before I can add. So this is in its simplest form. Let's look at some problems. Let's see. For the first problem, the 4 is known as a coefficient. The x is known as a variable, and the -8 is called a constant. Very good. Well, if I look at these, I'm gonna mark all of my terms that have an x in them with a purple box, and then I'm going to mark all of my terms that are just constants with a green circle. And that's all that I have in both of those. I cannot simplify this problem any further. What I'm left with is 4x minus 8. That's as simple as I can make it. I can add some variance to it, but that's as simple as I can make it for right now. Alright, so problem number 2. I'm going to use purple, and I'm going to do a purple box around all of my terms that have the variable t in it to include the sign in front of the term. And I will do green circles around all of my constants, and I will include the sign in front of those terms. Question for you: what sign is understood to be in front of the 3t? Yes, a positive sign. If no sign is given, it's understood to be a positive number or a positive term. So for this, the reason that I have these marked is that I'm going to use the commutative property. Okay, the commutative property to rearrange my problem and help me to be able to visualize it. I'm going to have 3t minus 2t minus 4 plus 5. And what I end up with having are two separate problems. I have this one and this one, and I will combine those like terms now. 3t minus 2t is simply t. A negative 4 plus 5 is 1. T plus 1. And let's see, right here, what I'm going to do is I'll come here and I'll show you the usefulness of this. So and we practice evaluating our expressions. So if I'm given this expression right here, and let's say I will say let t equal 6. So that means I take 6 and I replace all the t's with the number 6. And in order of operations, I need to do my multiplications first. So that's 18 minus 4 minus 12 plus 5. And then working from left to right, becomes 14 minus 12 plus 5. And that becomes 2 plus 5, which equals 7. Okay, not complex work to do, maybe a little bit more time consuming, but If I were to combine like terms, this is what I end up with. I end up with t plus 1. And if I say, okay, we'll let t equal 6, then I plug in a 6 plus 1 equals 7. There's all my work. That's why combining like terms and simplifying expressions is very useful. And really, that is math. Making problems that you're given more simple. Our answers are the same problem except in a simpler form. Number 3, I will use a purple box around my terms that contain the variable w to include the sign in front of the term. And just show you, there's only one constant. I don't need to do anything around it. It stands out on its own. I'll use the commutative property to rewrite. I'll say a negative 5w minus 2w plus 4. This is the only math that I have to do in here. Right here. And I will say a negative 7w plus 4. Alright guys, pause the video and see if you can work number 4. Alright, if you notice with number 4, I have 3 different types of terms. I have terms that contain the variable a, and I'll mark those with the purple box to include the sign in front of the term. And then I have terms that contain the variable b, and I'll mark those with some green boxes to include the sign in front of the term. And then I have my constants, and I'll circle those with blue. Again, this is just visualization to help me isolate which term is which, because otherwise the work can get very busy. Now it helps me to be able to rewrite. I just look at the purple boxes and then the green boxes and then the blue circles, and I've rewritten those. And what I'm left with 3 problems that I must solve. Those are the terms that I can combine together. This turns into 4a plus this turns into 5b minus 6. And I have simplified that expression. And that is the premise of mathematics. In mathematics, it's like a funnel. Okay? We take something complex, a complicated problem, and we work on it. And if you look, a lot of our work follows this pattern. It goes from something bigger down to something smaller, something that is more simple. Alright. Watch your publisher's videos. Critically think and structure your homework. And good luck on the rest of your homework.